Welcome to the Equinety Podcast, where horse owners just like you share their incredible Equinety stories and how Equinety is changing their horses' lives. Whether you're searching for something to give your performance horse better focus, faster recovery, and more stamina, or in the extreme case where all hope seems lost, give your horse what it needs to help heal at a cellular level, you'll find it here. So jump in on today's episode to hear how Equinety is helping horses worldwide. Now, welcome your host, John Dowdy.
Hello and welcome to another exciting Equinety podcast. This podcast it's long overdue for one that has to do with arthritis, and I was pleasantly surprised when the owner of these two horses, Nancy, we were just talking about one specifically, and she goes, "Oh, well, I have another story for you." So we're going to get 2 for 1 on this podcast. So without further ado, Nancy, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. My name is Nancy McCarran, and I was introduced to the products via Facebook. An ad came up, and I thought it looked pretty good, so I wanted to try it, and that was back in January. And I have a horse. He's a Rocky Mountain horse. He's 15 years old, and he's had arthritis for 2 years. When we got him, he was very lame after we had him for a little while, and I guess the bute wore off. He was pretty lame, and I tried some other products, and they really didn't work very well at all. So I started trying the Equinety, and I was very, very happy with the results. Within a week, this horse was out in the pasture galloping around, which he hadn't done because he was so sore. And he just progressively got better, and pretty soon there was no lameness at all. I'm very, very happy with the product with this horse. His name is Rocky. He's a Rocky Mountain horse. I think I said that. And we have another horse, and he's 7 years old. And he was out for training, and he developed a swelled hock. So we took him to the vet, and the vet said he had a little arthritis there, and that swelling would never go down. So I had such great results with the Rocky horse that I thought I'd try it on this Tennessee Walker. And I did, and I noticed within a couple of weeks that the swelling was totally gone. There's no swelling at all. He never was lame, but he was diagnosed with arthritis, just mild, just beginning. And like I said, the vet said that swelling would never go down, but it did. So he's been on the product for about 6 weeks now, and the Rocky horse has been on it since January, and they're both doing very well. And I can't tell you how much I love this product. I'm so happy for it. It's wonderful. That little scoop does such a great job. And I'm going to keep using it forever.
Wow, that's great. Well, so let's jump right back to the first horse there, your Rocky Mountain horse named Rocky. So you're primarily using him as a trail horse, is what?
Yes.
Okay. So he's 15 years old, and he had arthritis pretty severe when you got him. And you mentioned the bute had kind of worn off, but he was also getting injections annually, isn't that right?
Yes, that's true. The previous owner had him injected like once a year right into the area of the hock where the arthritis was. And that didn't sound very appealing to me. I didn't want to continue with that kind of process. So that's why I say I'm so happy I found this other product here. Right.
So he was coming up due for probably around the time in January for the injection, and you noticed he was just getting worse. That's when you came across the Equinety. And so
yeah,
how from the time that you started using the Equinety, because as you kind of alluded to, you weren't a fan of the injection, so you were searching around trying to find an alternative. You had tried several other things, nothing really seemed to work, and then you came across the Equinety. So from the time that you gave the Equinety, how long was it before you saw a difference?
This horse was very good in a week. I know that sounds really fast, but this is what happened with him. Within a week, I noticed he wasn't limping anymore. He was running around like a crazy man out there in the pasture, which really seemed good to me because I hadn't seen him doing that very much at all. And he's been doing it ever since. So he's a pretty happy camper right now.
Right, because even on the trail rides, you had mentioned that he would get sore and it's not like you're going for super long trips here, but he would be sore before you could even get back to the barn.
Yes, that's correct.
Right. Wow. Well, and it's also important in the thing with Equinety, and we're all about helping horses worldwide, and this is really what the Equinety is doing. But I think it's also important to bring up the fact that the way that your horses are cared for, tell us a little bit about your nutritional program that you have, or what do they kind of get on a daily basis?
Our horses are very healthy. They're on grass most of the year. It's fresh grass. It's very good for them. They get high-quality hay. I give them a mineral supplement. They also get salt, and they get pellets, 12% protein, but they don't get very much grain at all. They just don't need it because they have such a great pasture and good hay. Mm-hmm. So that's very important that they get good nutrition, and they seem to heal a lot faster when they get good nutrition.
Yes, and
like that.
Absolutely. And I think this is a great point to bring up, because what we found, being on the market now almost 4 years, with horses like this, that they get really good care, the quality of their feed and grass and everything is very, very good. It seems like it doesn't matter what part of the country you're in, or what quality of feed and care they're getting. When you add the Equinety, it always seems to kick them up a few notches. And that just tells us that horses are deficient in amino acids. And the great...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm saying yes, absolutely.
Right. And, the thing with the Equinety, and you look and say, okay, well, there's 8 amino acids. I could go buy those individually, or my feed already has amino acids, or whatever I'm getting amino acids. Well, the neat thing with the Equinety amino acids is they're specifically put together to stimulate the pituitary gland, which releases hormones to help the body heal at a cellular level. So in the case with both of your horses where you're battling some severe arthritis, and this really went to work super fast. And that's the great thing about this product as well, because it's customizing to the horse. How did you know that this was going to go target the arthritis areas versus a hoof, for example, or top line? Well, that's a great thing about giving the body what it needs to release the hormones, and then the body determines where to send those hormones for the healing. So in your case, you're dealing with 2 horses dealing with arthritis. So Rocky is like a new man. No pain, 100% sound. Yeah. Okay, and then let's swing over to Cole, who's your Tennessee Walker. So he's 7 years old, and so he had the swelling in the right rear hock probably never go down. And you went to the vet, and it was...
Oh, yes, and also I gave him injections. I did that for 7 days, I think it was, for a month. I had to go out there every day and give him injections. I forget what the name of it was, but that didn't help either. It might have helped a little with the swelling, but he still had the swelling and the puffiness there after those shots were finished. So I wasn't impressed with that product.
No. And so then you thought, well, the Equinety works so well with Rocky, why not give it to Cole and see what happens?
Absolutely. He wasn't lame, but I didn't like that puffiness.
Mm-hmm.
The swelling. I just didn't like that at all, so I wanted to get rid of it.
Right.
So I did.
Yeah, so how long did you see a difference there?
I noticed that he had been taking it for a couple of weeks, and I just happened to touch it because I wasn't really paying much attention to it because he wasn't lame, and I noticed that it was totally gone. I was like, wow, it's gone. Amazing. I like it.
Yeah, and I tell you, and you and I were chatting about this before we hit record on this podcast, but the Equinety product, it works so well. And for the majority of horses, people do notice a difference in 30 days or less. In your case, it was 1 week on one horse and a couple weeks in the other horse. And, I tell people it's not a miracle supplement, but it sure does some miraculous things. And, when you understand what it's doing inside the body to release the hormones, and then the hormones are what's doing the healing at a cellular level, the bar is set pretty high, I would think, and we're blessed in that fact. And so if you're one of the folks listening in here and you've been using the Equinety for 60 days or 90 days and you haven't seen, what you're expecting to see, then, sometimes it does take a little bit of time. We're all different. Horses are different. Sometimes it takes several months depending on what the situation conditions are. But, well, I tell you what, Nancy, it's been a pleasure having you on this podcast and sharing your Equinety stories. I know a lot of people out there are battling with arthritic issues in their horses, and maybe this could be a solution for them. And, if you had anything to say to them other than what you've already said, maybe they're sitting on the fence about trying the Equinety, what would you have to say to them?
I definitely have something to say. I would encourage you not to give up, because this product definitely works. I have no investment in this product. I'm not a distributor. I don't know John. I just met him, but I can tell you from my experience what this product has done for my horses, and I just want to encourage you, just keep on keeping on. Don't give up. It might take 6 months, might take more. The product is reasonably priced, so there's no reason why not to continue with it. John, the other thing I'd like to say is, another great thing that happens with this product is we horse people really love our horses. And, it's very sad to us to see them hopping around and limping and not being healthy and hurting. We really don't like that because we love our horses. So this product really helps us to feel better, to have a good feeling, happiness that our horses aren't lame anymore. So it's great for us, too.
You know what? I couldn't agree more with that. And from our side, and it's one of the reasons why we started this podcast, so people could hear from people just like you. As you mentioned, we've never met before. I saw you had posted a comment or something on one of our ads, or had texted in or something, and so we got to talking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, people need to hear this story. And I think as horse owners, especially when you're battling some kind of scenario of trying to figure out what's going on with the horse, they're hurting, and yes, you feel bad, you're trying to figure out a solution, and sometimes you're giving products that in the back of your mind you pretty well know that it's not really doing anything, but you feel better because you're doing something. I think that happens a lot, and I think the giving the Equinety a try, the odds of this working are so high, no matter what the situation is. It definitely is, and we tried to price it. It's $1 a day for your horse, so very economical.
Yeah,
for all the things that it does. So, well, Nancy, again, thank you so much for all the kind words and sharing your Equinety stories. I know there are people going to listen to this and really get some benefit out of it. So thank you again.
Okay, and if anybody wants to talk to me personally, I'd be happy to speak with them.
That's great. Yeah, I'll put a link to your Facebook page in the teamequinety.com podcast link underneath this podcast under that section there. So, all right, well, Nancy, well, thanks again, and we'll get this out so everybody can hear it.
Okay, great.
All right, bye-bye.
That's all for this episode of the Equinety Podcast. For more information on purchasing Equinety, be sure to visit our website at teamequinety.com, where you'll also find product information as well as more testimonials on how others have seen amazing results by implementing Equinety into their horse's supplement regime. We'll have more stories on how Equinety is helping horses worldwide right here on a future episode of the Equinety Podcast.